this yard is shared between our Big Bears room, so our 3 to 4 children, and our toddler room, our 2 to 3 year olds. 7 years ago when I first started working here, it was a complete pine bark playground with some plastic gym equipment in it. So we've had a very large transformation over the last 7 or 8 years to taking away all of the plastic toys and providing more nature-based resources and just loose parts for the children to direct their play in the way that they need to play, not in the way that we as adults assume that they will play. A few years ago this was just the sand pit with a roof on it, but we noticed that the children's play was really indicating to us that we needed some more loose parts and some different way for them to play in this zone. So we built what we call Mud Kitchen, and it's been built out of old recycled apple crates and fence palings and tin for the roof. The children were quite involved in the building of this area and spent a lot of time dictating to us how they wanted it to be and helping to measure up the wood when it was being built. There are currently a lot of conversations going on about our peach tree and the blossoms that have come. Being that we've moved into spring, the children naturally move their conversations into seasonal discussions, and a lot of our programs then start to revolve around it. They're now starting to notice that the flowers are dying off and they're waiting for the peaches to begin to grow. There's a lot of discussion between the older children to the younger children about not picking the flowers, and they really help to protect plants. The more knowledge that they have about those plants, the more they become fierce protectors of them. So we have our prayer flags that hang underneath all the verandas, and all new families are given a prayer flag in their welcome pack to share a wish or a prayer with us. Often we give visiting tour groups or special guests a prayer flag as well, so they've come from all over the world or all over the country. So the babies have their own yard, but they do explore into the older yard, the yard that the toddlers and the Big Bears share, especially during times that they're not in it, so that they can still have a calm and peaceful time out there. But the babies do also venture to the bush nearly every day. We talk a lot about giving real experiences to the children, and that children often don't see adults doing things with their hands anymore. In such a technologised, globalised world, everything's done by technology, and so we try and support them with learning real life skills as young as the baby's room. So as you can see, they're doing some gardening this morning and they're learning about how a plant grows. Even if they're too young to be able to verbally understand that, they're still witnessing it and observing it. In the older room, that looks like sewing experiences, woodworking experiences. We talk about a lot about the senses, and not just the 5 senses that people normally discuss, but we talk about the vestibular sense, and that's the sense of balance. And this is why this yard has been built on very uneven ground and lots of different surfaces for the children to walk on, because they need to develop that sense of balance. We also believe that the physical experiences of our more challenging yards and environments in the bush, children are able to develop their proprioceptive sense, which is the pressure to the joints, and lots of jumping and climbing and pulling and pushing experiences support them to develop that sense. All of our rooms use the bush, so 0 to 5 will use the bush on a daily basis. As we can see here, some of the toddler group have come out after their morning tea. You'll probably see that some sections of our bush are roped off, and that is because we are recognising that by using the bush every day we have quite a drastic impact on this space, and we need to regenerate certain sections of it every year. And so we rotate those sections to ensure that we are giving back to nature as much as we're taking from it. The group that we can see right now knows this bush like the back of their hands and have a lot of freedom and move within the space as they please. They're very competent to sort out their own problems and know when that they need to get us. We frequently see them risk assessing and discussing those risk assessed with each other. This child knows that he needs children to move out of the way before he can jump, and that it would be unsafe to do so with them standing down there. We don't need to tell these children that, because they have the freedom to work this out for themselves. I suppose that at Guy's Nest we are very heavily focused on ensuring that we look at the 2 different forms of environment, the physical environment and the dynamic environment. In that regard, we follow a very Reggio approach in terms of knowing that the environment is the third teacher and that children need the space to explore and to use items as they need to, not as we design them to be used.